Track here at Del Mar, outside the Hacienda Room. We're also streaming live on X/Twitter. Thanks for joining us, everyone. My name is Frank Scatoni, and we are back with another fine Saturday card here at Del Mar. Very pleased to announce the man who will be guiding us through today's 10-race program. You know, last week on my Best Bet live stream on Sunday, I talked about my love for books and my love for horse racing. Well, today's guest shares those same interests. He's the author of 2 books. He's been a racing journalist for a long time, and he's one of the first guys I met in the press box when I moved from New York to Del Mar in New York City. Please welcome David Beltran. David, what's good?
Thank you. Thank you. I remember that day.
Yeah, you remember?
I remember that.
It's still marked on your calendar, the day we met? All right, you know, I'm so happy that you're doing this because I was doing another live stream on Thursday with my man Pete Fornatale, and we were talking about old school racing stories. And we were talking about an author named William Murray, who was a good friend of ours. And he would tell us stories about Agua Caliente, which was the racetrack in Mexico that was very innovative, that a lot of players loved playing and a lot of horsemen came through. Who better to talk about some Agua Caliente stories than the man who actually wrote the book about it? And we can show that book right there.
Here's my book right here. I go back to the original building of Agua Caliente, the one that was built in the 1920s. I remember that when I was just like 5 years old. In fact, I watched my first Kentucky Derby on my dad's shoulders in those small black and white closed circuit televisions. It was like 1967. The only reason I remember is because there was a number 13. We never had a number 13. So I kept pointing at her, Dad, there's 13 horses. And he didn't know anything about the Kentucky Derby, he just heard about it. But he wanted me to watch it, and that's how I got introduced to it. And I was this little 5-year-old kid that would go collecting tickets, those old, beautiful mutual tickets that they don't print out anymore with all those designs and all different colors for different dollar denominations. If I had them still, my God. Thanks, Mom.
Well, you don't have it because you cashed so many winners, you had to give them back.
I had to give them back, yeah.
But Agua Caliente was pretty groundbreaking. Isn't it where the Pick 6 started?
Yes, it started out as a bet called the 5-10. It was taken from a Venezuelan bet called the 5 and 6, or the 5 y 6. The object of that bet was to select the first 5 or 6 finishers of the feature event that day. But John Alessio, who was the general manager of Agua Caliente, he adapted it. Why not try to select the winner of 6 consecutive horse races? So they did a lot of dry tests on it, and as part of, so they had to make a separate rule. And finally, in 1955, it was unleashed, and it became an instant hit. You know, it was called the 5-10, or El 5 y 10.
And then California obviously adopted it, and the $2 Pick 6 back in the day was the bet. That was the holy grail for horse players, because you could do a minimum $2 base ticket, and the pool sizes were huge, and you could really have a life-changing score. Things have changed a little bit with lower denominations, but the Pick 6 is still available here. We've had some really nice payouts in the Pick 6 and the Pick 5 so far this meet. So it's something to consider playing. One more topic about Agua Caliente. A lot of really good horsemen came through there, and then obviously, migrated here to be forces on the California circuit.
Yes, from Charlie Whittingham to Bill Shoemaker, Johnny London, George Wolf, all those old school guys. Eddie Arcaro won his first career race at Agua Caliente, and he went on to win 5 Kentucky Derbies and 2 Triple Crowns. So it was a good school.
Yeah, so if you're interested in learning more, David has his book. You can talk to him after the show about where to get it and all that fun stuff. The other book I want to talk about is the second one you wrote. It's about a man who had a tremendous impact on the sport in general, and that's Rex Ellsworth.
Rex Ellsworth, he had a major impact, not just on the sport, but on the breed itself. It's not surprising to find as many as 14 to 16 horses in the Kentucky Derby field that trace back to some of the horses he bred, especially swaps that came out of Palette. He won everything. He won the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness. He even won the Prix de l'Arc at Triomphe in France. So he was all over the place. Certain things just kind of went south for him. Got a bad name, and unfortunately, he was never able to shake out from under that dark cloud.
So it's like a Hollywood story. You can see I kind of geek out a little bit when we're talking about books, but I know we got to move on to handicapping, and we're going to get into the races in just a second. But David, why don't you just tell us in general? You don't have to go too deep because we'll get into that later. What is your handicapping process? What are you looking for? How do you work a card?
Okay, I handicap in phases. Phase one is just to extract information, and I like to mark everything. I like to draw circles, I like to draw underline, I like to put arrows going up if a horse is improving in speed figures, arrows going down if he's going down in form, little trick notes. If I happen to watch a video of the race, I'll put a little side note, stumbled, got pitched, or something. But yeah, I even kind of like an approximation of his quarter time. I adjust by how many lengths he was back from the leader. It gives me a quick visual. It kind of gives me the shape of the race. And from there I go, if there's too much speed up front, maybe the presser or somebody that from within that 5 length gap can probably pick them up. But class is class.
I would like to look at this. This could be hanging in the Louvre. When he hits a pick six and retires, we're going to put that in the museum.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, let's get right into it, everyone. Race one, a maiden special weight. 2-year-old fillies going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. There are some nice ladies in here. Morning line favorite, number 5, Howard Connection, 9-5, second time starter for the Todd Fincher barn. The horse debuted at Los Al, was part of a pretty slow pace in that 5 furlong race, and wasn't able to outfinish the winner. I typically do gravitate towards second time starters, but look, you have a Mandela first room here, you have a Baffert first room here, and they each cost about $250,000, so they must have some potential. How are you handicapping this 2-year-old race?
These are usually the races I skip because I just like to watch them. I like to watch them develop and develop some sort of pattern. Are you a front runner? Are you a presser? But I was up to the challenge, and yeah, I like the one simply because it came second in the stakes race. And Power Connection, what really caught my eye as I was making my way down here, looking at 9-5, I believe she's 9-2.
Is that right? I haven't seen the toe for it yet, but yeah, I was a little lukewarm on her, to tell you the truth. I did this race as one of my spot plays for the In the Money media column I do called Frankly Speaking, and I gave your horse number 1, so there was some credence, and I was looking at number 3 Acquitted. This is the second time starter, ran into a monster named Kazaloo last time. That horse is in the stakes race today. Horse was parked wide on the worst part of the track. Just ran around. Mandela's also often very patient. I expect this horse to run much better today at 6-1. I think that's a good race to get.